Welcome to this week's edition of From the Front Lines. I'm joined today by Rick Davis, Sheridan High School principal. Hi, Rick.
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Tell us how school year's going so far. We're a few weeks into it, and you, unlike a lot of schools, have everybody in class except those who decided to go virtual. So you're not doing a hybrid model. How's that working for you guys?
It's worked out really well. Being a small school here in Hamilton County and pulling students from both Boone and Hamilton County, we're able to go with full in-person return except for the students who've chosen the virtual option that we provided this year. So it's gone really well. I couldn't be happier with the efforts our students have made, and I feel like the efforts that we've made as a school with our plans and protocols have really paid off. So I'm very pleased with it so far. I was, a little nervous as we got things rolling, but it's going really well.
Talk about transmission, because you've had a few cases, but you made an interesting observation that the transmission doesn't seem to be happening in the school.
Right, we did. The virus is around us. We know that, and we have had a few positive cases. But then we do the contact tracing, as we're supposed to do, and we quarantine those students. And we've been really lucky and also quite pleased to see that the students who've gone home and to be quarantined for contact tracing have not shown positive cases. So what that tells us is that the efforts that we're making and our students are cooperating with in mask wearing and trying to maintain social distance, barricades and so forth at lunch, those efforts are really helping to mitigate the spread within the school. So we're really pleased so far that it looks like what we're trying to do is making a difference.
It's working, sure. Let's talk a little bit about lunch, because I know there are a lot of parents who are concerned, rightly so, probably, about that time of the day. That is the time of day the kids are allowed to take off their masks, obviously, to eat. Talk about the unique setup that you guys have in your cafeterias, because I haven't seen this at any of the other schools.
Absolutely. Well, we too recognize as we were planning all summer long to get ready for the start of school that lunch posed a very unique problem. We have a limited space in the cafeteria that we need to feed the students in. We have a number of students to get fed during those available times. And so how are we going to do this as safely as we can? Because obviously you can't eat with a mask on. So what we decided to do was to invest in table barriers or barricades, shields, whatever you want to call them. And so we found a vendor in Indianapolis who made us several large table barriers to divide they're not round tables, they're octagonal, but they divided those into 4 sections and we limited the seats there, and it allowed us to spread our students out. And then at our other booth tables and smaller tables, we made our maintenance department, even I made some of the table barriers there that allow the students to sit, take their mask down, eat, and still interact with their table partners and friends at that time. If the students get up from their table, they have to put their mask back on. So as they take their food to the trash or whatever, the masks are on. Whenever they're moving, the masks are on, but once they sit down to eat and socialize, they can take the mask off because they do have that level of protection with the table barriers.
We were talking about this, and I know that at least some of the schools I've talked to have assigned seating at lunch, but you've not had to go that route. Tell us how you're monitoring who's sitting with whom in case you need to do the contact tracing.
Absolutely. Once again, this is a benefit of being a small school. Students by nature tend to sit in the same spot just about every day, or at least at the same table, because they want to be with their group of friends, their social bubble. And we've encouraged them to keep their bubbles small, especially this year with the pandemic that we're all living in. So what we're able to do, because we have a very nice and thorough, I guess you could say, video monitoring system that we can access, that we know where the students sit. I'm in lunch with them every day, so I learn where they sit. And if we do have a positive case or need to contact trace, we can quickly pull up the video cameras and trace back in time and see who was sitting where. And if the student did get up and wander somewhere else, we can easily monitor where they go. So our video monitoring system that we have in the school really helps to that whole contact tracing aspect.
That's fantastic. Talk about some of your wins, some of the things that are really working for you guys.
I would say our biggest wins are just the student cooperation. The students have been fantastic. They want to be in school, so they're doing everything we ask them to do. Mask wearing has been a non-issue. They have them up. They're human too, so occasionally you have a mask that's not fitting real well that will slip down, or they'll reach up to scratch their nose and not pull it back up. But a quick reminder, or even just a quick gesture, they're like, "Oh, sorry," and they get the mask put back up right away. So I think that's our biggest win, is that two things: that the compliance of the students and their willingness to do what's asked of them is number one, and number two is just that when we have had contact tracing, those students haven't come down with it, which just really reinforces that our efforts appear to be working.
Again, and you've talked about the advantages of being a small school. It really sounds like your kids are getting the best of both worlds in terms of having to comply with these rules, but in a smaller setting, which allows them to have really good social interaction. I'm impressed with that. Any challenges or anything that you would ask people to kind of really keep in mind, especially outside the classroom?
Well, I think maintaining a small social circle is so important. We know they have lots of friends, but really limiting those contacts outside of school over the weekends or athletic events and things like that. Stick with your closest friends, and that's who you need to do so at this time. That's big. And then, also just encourage the parents and families and friends to reinforce those ideas of wearing the mask and social distancing. And when you get together, whether it's a cookout over the weekend with family or friends, just be aware of that social distance and who you're around and how long you're with them. Sometimes when you do the contact tracing, that 6-foot radius, and then or 6-foot diameter, I guess it'd be radius, 6-foot radius diameter that you have, that zone, that danger zone of 6 feet in 15 minutes. Sometimes that 15 minutes adds up more quickly than you realize. And so it does expand that circle of who might have to be quarantined for contact tracing. So just follow what the health department, the CDC, and everybody's telling us to do. And it really does seem to make a difference in allowing our kids to be at school and participate in the activities that they want to do.
Rick Davis, Sheridan High School principal, thank you again for your time. Good luck with the rest of the school year.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back in school, and thank you for everything you're doing on your end. We appreciate it.
You bet.